35 years. I was one of her first kids in the kids program, and we have remained close ever since. Denise, welcome to Adara Live.
Thanks, Adara. I know I've been kind of shy to come on your channel here, but I'm excited to be here today.
Well, I think you just have some amazing insights to share with parents during this very difficult time of just uncertainty, and then obviously having the kids being at home and feeling really lost as to what to do and to entertain them at all times. So before we go into that, just briefly, can you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself?
Well, okay, sure. I'm a counselor. I'm a student, and I have studied seriously developmental psychology. So in my work with kids, which I've been doing for 35 years or so now, I use developmental principles to design the program, and love watching kids grow up, love watching their development. So it's been a real joy to do that.
Yeah. How has the program sort of changed over the years?
Well, when you were little, when you were in the program, it was smaller, and now it's quite a bit larger, with 80 youth leaders who get together to train and learn leadership skills, which they then turn around and apply to different constellations of mixed age kids. And we like to work with mixed age kids because that's how we think children learn about their own development. Like, we love to teach children about their own development so that their own development isn't such a mystery to them, that they understand that their emotions develop, that they learn how to receive and accept and tolerate their own emotions over time, that they don't have these expectations of themselves that they should be able to do everything right now just because they see older people doing that those older people have had days on the world to learn these things. And how did they learn them? Let's find out. Different people learn them in different ways. So what's your style of learning? What's your style of leading? How would, who would you learn from amongst these, people here, this smorgasbord of people who are a little bit older than you, who've learned these things, who've mastered these things? Which style is going to fit for you? And so those are the kinds of things that we introduce our children to in our groups.
Well, one thing that's just so unique about what you offer in your program is you'll get would it be said to over 60 or so children, all from ages sort of 2.5 to 18, that are all together.
Yeah, and maybe, 20 somethings. Like, each group, we sort of have about 50 people max, sometimes a few more with some of our senior leaders in there, or adult facilitators. But the adult facilitators really take a step back, and it is a youth-led program. The idea is to promote the young people to be in contact with other young people, and that we're there to facilitate the program. I know I'm doing a good job when one of the little kids pipes up, "Who's that lady?" Like, I know that means that's perfect. But some of the kids know me super, super well, like you, because I was like your main point of contact for all that time. It has grown. We have, usually groups of about 50. Yeah. We like to have some smaller groups sometimes, in different venues to get that sort of family reunion feel, which can be really important. But the mixed age is the secret sauce, if you will, because the idea is that in schools, kids get segregated into their age groups quite a bit. We do have the education system's really cottoning on to the idea of mixed age groups, and they've started to have some really cool programs where they'll put like grade 5ers with, kindergartners or something, but they're not able to do that on a very large scale, simply because of the other demands that schools have in terms of curricula that they have to meet and things they have to do.
Yes. So this brings up just my point of now everyone is home, self-isolated.
I know.
And we're not able to be with our youth or our peers. And how are we to learn about our own self-development, and not us, but the children? And how are we supposed to sort of keep on evolving and growing without just plunking, our kids in front of the television for hours at a time, or constantly feeling like we need to do crafts with them or take them out on, forest adventures?
I know. Well, in lots of ways, it's interesting. In Kids in the Spotlight, we fall back into the idea of an ancient human village. The idea of like, there really aren't a lot of entertaining things set up for children, that there aren't systems in place to sort of like take care of a child's time or take care of a child's ability to tolerate their interactions with the environment, to soften the blow of the world, if you will. Those kinds of things aren't always in place in the same way that we've done in our society now. What really is constant over human history is stories. So many times parents think they have to entertain kids with lots of effortful things, like, now I've got to come up with the scissors and the tape and the right kind of paint and, mix the glue and make sure that this little project that we're doing is going to be successful. It can be quite stressful, and you find yourself, trying to sort out all of these things and plan all these things. And homeschooling, of course, it can be really, really challenging if it's something that is new in particular. And also a lot of homeschooling people get together in groups and do things together in groups. And even that's now like out. So there's so many extra challenges on the horizon for folks in the next little while. So falling back on some of the ancient wisdom and holding children able to do things. Like, children are really interested in exploring their environment. So it's tough if you're not allowed to let them go out free to explore the outside environment freely, so you have to sort of find times to do that exploration in a social distancing kind of way, when there aren't going to be other people in the park, or, don't go to the seawall when it's crowded, even though your child really loves to explore Stanley Park. So, but they really are interested in exploring the environment. So giving them opportunities to explore something, even if it's at home, and stepping back and not, you don't have to do all the work. It's really important to hold the children able to learn how to settle into the world, settle into the sort of, the anxiety, there is sort of an ontological anxiety about being alive. And we have to let our children learn to tolerate that. We can't protect them from that all the time. We have to let them learn to settle into that and learn how to tolerate their own feelings.
Okay, I love this, because what I'm hearing right now in my friends' mouths that are moms are like, they're gonna just sit there and like whine or complain or be pouty or like need something to do, right? And so I just can see these kids just like being very uncomfortable with the fact that they're not getting what they want or doing what they want.
Right. Yeah, my son Jacob and I were making up some skits, and we sort of had a before times and after times kind of idea, that before times the parent would come in, the child would be playing on their computer or something, and you'd be like, okay, it's time to go to taekwondo or ballet or soccer or piano lesson or whatever it is. And the child's going, oh, come on, I just got one more boss, 5 more minutes, and that was, the whine. And now it's going to be like, the parent is busy doing something on the computer potentially, and the child's going to come, I got nothing to do, I'm bored, so that's the after times whine. So whining is definitely something that children will do. And it's up to you as a parent to learn not to get too triggered by that whining. You hear that whining, and so understand that whining as like the child's experiencing a feeling, maybe anxiety, and boredom is a mask for anxiety. And so they're whining because they want something, to handle their anxiety from you as their parent. You're their attachment figure. So they're coming to you with whichever feeling is over spilling that they're uncomfortable with. They're coming with you for a way to emotionally regulate. And how you teach them to emotionally regulate is not to take care of the source of the whining, not to sort of go in there and go, oh, you poor thing, you have nothing to do, let me spend all day trying to create activities for you. It's more important for you to show them, how do you yourself deal with that anxiety? And what do you do with your body to settle yourself and learn to tolerate the next feeling that's coming?
So be like,
you want to model that for them.
Right.
So you might want to hold them close to your, a little bit. I know with social distancing, this could be an issue, but maybe, show them how you do this with your body. What do you do? Breathe, settle, accept the feelings that you're having, talk about the discomfort, ask them a little bit about it, not too hard questions, just something simple like, oh my gosh, this must be hard for you. How long have you been feeling like this today? Just something like that is better than, let me take care of this feeling.
Mm.
You need something to take care of this feeling right now.
So, okay, so I'm just imagining this is happening, and a child's come up and said that they're very bored and they don't know what to do. And would I say something like, you know what, when I'm feeling like this, I love to listen to some music or just sit somewhere for a while. Would you suggest that kind of thing? Like,
well, here's another thing is, a lot of times parents will ask me, what should I say? And, you just said, so I should say something like, this is what I do. So it's like telling somebody what to say. Parents will ask me, what should I say?
right.
It's not about what you say. I can't tell you what to say. No one
Right.
can tell you what to say. It's about getting into that moment for yourself and being fully present yourself. And when I notice myself, when I'm like really present, children like really attracted to me.
Mhm.
Other times when I'm distracted and I'm upset, I'm, not feeling very good about things, I'm not in my body, everyone's like afraid of me and staying away. And then when I can drop into my body and be really present and connected with myself, then children are really attracted to me. They'll just be fascinated with me, staring at me, And so this is one of the most important things that we can do for our children, is to be present, to
Right.
breathe, and to be present. It sounds like flaky advice, but once you do it, once you really understand, it carves a pathway for your children for their own emotional regulation, their own emotional development. And emotional development leads to really good, solid moral development. Good, solid moral development is going to solve so many problems in the world. So you're serving, not just your own needs in terms of overexhausting yourself as a parent. You're serving the world if you can master this, if you can learn to do this with your children.
Hmm.
So it sounds flaky, but it is about opening a little bit up yourself, not just getting triggered by something that happened in the past when your child was overwhelmed and you couldn't handle it, or when you yourself as a child suffered from boredom and neglect, or like worrying about in the future, oh, if I don't take care of my child right now, I'm gonna have nothing but a whiny child in my hands. Every emotion that my child has means I'm a failure as a parent. I haven't protected them from their feelings. So these kinds of awfulizations of things in the future, like my child's not going to be able to manage, all of those things kind of take you out of the present moment. And then you're not actually present to support your child in that emotional regulation that they need in that moment. In that moment, they need you to say, yes, I see this is tough for you right now. And where are you feeling that? What's going on? And just, and as soon as you start to ask some questions from that curious place where you're not trying to take care of their problems, they start to feel a little more capable too. Because if you're going to be always going like, oh, you poor thing, you're not able to handle a Sunday afternoon without activities planned, you're sending them a message that they're not very able, Now I hold them able to manage lots of things. I don't need to take care of everything that's going on. Once I've taught them how to do something, they know it and they can go on to the next thing. And there's just that kind of expectation that they're going to be able to manage that I hold. And I hold it with a lot of sternness, actually, even, kind of like I have so much respect for them. I see their dignity. And so then they rise to that. Children will rise to that because they start to go, wow, if my parent believes I can handle this, maybe I can, maybe I'll give myself a chance. So those are the kinds of it's an approach. You could have, we could go into, here's 5 ways to use construction paper that you've never thought of before, or, decorate your windows, or, there's all kinds of, fun things that we could do. I was actually going over the rules of charades with Jacob yesterday and realizing he actually didn't know all the rules of charades. So those are the kinds of things we might dig into. But stories are really, really the best. So tell stories about when you were bored and you didn't know what to do and how you solved that problem. When I was a child, we didn't have a lot of toys. We made so many things out of stuff that was around. I had an amazing time, we used our imaginations, and there's kind of like this kind of Celtic thing that I come from. I'm pretty sure I'm 100% Scottish, Irish, all super, super transparent white type of background, where in the Second World War and in the First World War, all these wars that they all had, they had no entertainment. They made their own entertainment all the time. And that's kind of a tradition that's been brought down to me. And it's why we make up our own shows and Kids in Spotlight. We make up our own entertainment. And that kind of self-reliance, and that, you can do it. You can entertain each other. We've got lots of talent in this room. Let's put on a show. Things like that is in my culture and in my heritage. And I bring that forward as one of the things to share. So you could do that, but really it's the approach is holding the children able to manage, and not feeling like you need to get in there and do every little thing for them. There's going to be times when they're going to be sitting at the table and they're not going to want to do their math. And you're going to be like, if you don't do your math, you're not going to get your, pizza or whatever. And it's really hard. So you're going to need to connect with other folks virtually just to deal with that, some of that issue, because that's new. They're not used to that. They're not used to you being their teacher. And I mean, I did not like doing homework with my children. I've got to say that was always a challenge. And so I never solved that problem. There are some problems that we just grew out of. We just could never solve them. So that's also going to be a reality.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many moments I want to be brought to tears of joy, just because we had sort of reconnected, 20 years after I had done the program, and then we stayed in touch for that other 10. And then we were so blessed to be able to do some of your videos.
Oh, that was so nice.
Years ago. And it was so cool to go back there and see how my development had really been impacted by Kids in the Spotlight, and not really making that connection until my later 30s, to really see that whole idea of my creativity and being able to put on a show and make something up and be in tune with my own feelings, or how I'm able to sort of communicate. I really feel like the development work I did back in the day in your programs were really fundamental in that.
Well, yeah, and I even remember giving you confidence in your own creativity, and giving you confidence in your own, giving you permission to be as big as you wanted to be.
That's crazy to remember that.
So remember that, even the position that we put you in the dance and everything like that. And so, and there's a lot of pressure on little girls to be small and don't take up too much space and things like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's not going to be a fit for this person, because she's got so much to offer, and she just gets to be as big as she wants to be. Darn it, So yeah, so we provided that experience for you, or I provided that experience for you. I think it was myself at that point. Mm-hmm. So, but it's kind of like really important to give space for what is coming up in development, but also to give feedback back. And maybe I didn't do that fully enough, or you didn't realize it until much later. So it's like to give feedback back to the child, like afterwards, I say, that was really awesome. I know that was hard, and look at that. Look at the just a little while ago, this was hard for you, and now it's so much easier. That's amazing. Remember, like just a couple of weeks ago when it was a struggle for you to figure out what to do with your afternoon, and now you're just like, you've got all your dolls lined up, and you're playing like some kind of game with them, which is really working out. And now you're writing a story about it. And
Right.
so like to sort of like give the feedback back.
Right.
And then sort of like as if you're telling another story, So stories are really, really important. And learning the structure of different stories and understanding what kids get out of just a personal story about your life. It doesn't have to be a big, big story. Like lots of times I'll tell parents to tell stories and I'm like, I don't have any stories. And then I'll go, like, tell a story about, how you struggled in the traffic this morning. That's a story. So those are the kinds of stories that kids are hungry for in terms of the information that they need to learn how to do their own emotional regulation. And that's how they learn it from you. That's where they get their emotional regulation, is from you as their attachment figure.
Very awesome. We have done amazing. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but if so, I'm sure Denise will answer those via comments later on. I'm sure that would work.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
And can people hire you to do one-on-ones or what?
Oh, not really at the moment, but
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do more videos or something like that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Me and you got some stuff cooking.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else you would want to just leave in regards to how to introduce?
I was wondering, I would like to hear from parents about whether they would like to have some videos of me and Jacob just talking to the kids as if we were in a small group with the children.
Mm-hmm.
There's my real voice isn't this voice where I'm talking to parents exactly. I have another voice where I just love talking to the children directly.
Yeah.
And I like to have a couple of people with me to do that, younger people with me. Right now, because of social isolation, Jacob is it, because we're already isolated together.
That's right. So, and Jacob is her son, just FYI.
Yeah, Jacob is one of my sons. So it would be really, we'd let you know if that would be something, you would want if we should go to the trouble of getting that going.
I think they do want, and I would want. I just find it so fascinating to watch you guys work and seeing the light bulbs go off in kids' eyes, like you said, the staring at you just in your presence, or just little things happening for them, and then seeing just the little pieces kind of come together for them in their own unique way, and it always shifting and growing and evolving and supporting their own, like you said, their inner regulation.
My experience. It's the benefit of all of my age and experience because I've been with so many little children and in trying times and, various situations. And I start to understand the different speeds that their development goes at. So for instance, I start to understand that their emotional development is slower than they want. They get frustrated with how their feelings overwhelm them. And sometimes their cognitive development is going too fast. Sometimes they're taking in the environment at speeds that are too quick for their emotional responses to the environment. And it's pretty tough to be a little guy, and have all of that go on. And so there's something about just the vast numbers of children that I've been privileged to really get to know closely that has provided me with some insights. And so when I'm listening to them, I think they feel heard a little more because of all of that experience.
Agreed. Well, Denise, it's just a pleasure to introduce you to my community, and I look forward to seeing the videos you and Jacob are going to do in the future. You're on. You've already been challenged. It's happening.
Let's see what happens. Thanks, Adara.
Thank you, and have a wonderful day, everybody. If you have any questions, please give us a shout. We'll be there to answer. Have fun.
Okay, bye.
You don't have to leave. It just stopped streaming. Good.